Concerning Him. An Emmaus podcast is a ministry of Emmaus Bible College. Concerning Him seeks to enrich Christians around the globe by educating and equipping them through various media. For more information about Emmaus, please visit emmaus.edu.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Concerning Him, an Emmaus podcast. Today's an episode of Friday Cookies, and we're joined by sophomore Tyrus Buckner. Welcome, Tyrus.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
No, it's an honor for us to have you. I'm excited to have you on today, Ty. Ty, what program are you in?
I'm in the business administration program.
Okay, business administration. Well, let's get started today. Why did you come to Emmaus?
I came to Emmaus because I was looking for a college experience that was different from where I grew up. I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. My suburb is called Richland Park, Illinois, and it's very scary. There's a lot of violence, and a lot of people who tend to do things that are irrational and aren't really true to the Christian faith. But I've been a believer ever since I was 13 years old. That was when I was saved. So I wanted to be around an environment that was not similar to that. I wanted to be around Christian fellowship and other believers who wanted to grow in their faith. And I had offers from other schools and institutions who, claimed to be religious or claimed to be Christian, but didn't really hold true to it all too well. But Emmaus actually did. And it was my basketball coach, Coach Graw. He came to my very last high school game. It was my senior night. And he came to the game. He made the trip down. It was about a 3.5-hour drive. And he came to watch the game. And afterwards, we spoke. We had a really good conversation. And we exchanged contact information. And then afterwards, he reached out and he said, "I love getting to meet you, and I would love to talk with you further." And when I started looking into Emmaus and learning more about it, I realized that it was exactly what I was looking for from a ministry fit, from a basketball fit, and just from wanting to get out of that environment as a whole. Dubuque is nothing like Richland Park, Illinois, and and I loved every bit of that.
Really?
So yeah, so that played a really huge role in me coming here, and I don't regret my decision at all.
Oh, well, that's amazing. I've seen you play basketball, and I'm sure you got a lot of offers and a lot of schools talking to you, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Did you visit campus before you committed?
I did.
Okay.
So I came on. I actually remember the exact date. I came on June 25th. It was 3 days before my birthday.
Okay.
Yeah, I came down with my athletic director from my homeschool basketball program. We made the trip down, and I came on to visit. Coach Graw led it. Coach Tomlinson was there, and I was able to speak with Mrs. Rasmussen, your mother. I was able to speak with Mr. Banaski, Dr. Parcher, and some of the other basketball players who were on the team at the time came down to say hello to me as well. And the visit just really won me over. Truthfully, when I came to visit Emmaus, my mind was already made up that this is where I wanted to be, but it was just further confirmation that this is where I belonged. So, yeah.
Well, we're happy to have you. I want to hear some about what your time has been like so far in the business administration program. I know you're only a sophomore, so everybody's a double major here, right? So Bible and business is what you're doing. I'm sure you've done a lot of Bible so far and not too much business, but what experiences have you had so far?
In the business program, it's really taught me a lot about how important it is to understand the actual concepts within your field.
Okay.
I thought business was a lot more basic in general than what it actually is. There's a lot to understand, and there's a lot that you need to comprehend with the concepts of business, such as business ethics and human resource management and management informational systems. There's in accounting and financing. It's so much.
Okay.
It's a lot to comprehend, a lot to understand. And I didn't understand how complex it actually was until I got here.
Yeah.
So my time in the business field to this point has been very insightful, and it's helped me learn a lot.
Okay.
And it's pushed me in areas that I never really had to be pushed before, such as writing. I didn't really have to write a whole lot because I was homeschooled. So I didn't really do a whole lot of papers or writing or anything like that. And then when I got here, I was really overwhelmed by all the writing that we had to do. We had to write a lot of papers, that, showed that, you have good comprehension of what you're talking about, and you're able to organize it and structure it in a way that's not only professional, but to where other people who aren't necessarily a part of your class, they could read it and understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I've never had to actually do something like that before. So it's really pushed me a lot. But,
okay.
And so I'm still learning. You know,
Yeah.
like you said, I'm a sophomore, so I haven't taken too many classes in the business field yet. But as I take more, I'm excited for the opportunity that I have to continue to grow and to see where that takes me.
Great. Wow. Well, that's awesome. I'm curious. So what is something in your time in Emmaus that has stuck with you, whether that's in the business classroom, whether that's being an RA, whether it's in a Bible classroom, whether it's in the basketball court. What do you feel like is something that you could say you can, something tangible that you can take away from your time in Emmaus so far?
I would say it's how important it is to depend on Christ. It is absolutely imperative that you lean on Christ and not on your own understanding and not on anyone else's understanding, but that you go to him and you go to him first, because that was something that I did a lot, was I tried to handle it all on my own and keep a lot of my struggles and my failures to myself and not be open about it and not confess about it, not only to others, but also to Christ as well. He obviously knows all my struggles, but I was never forthcoming about going to him about the issues that I was actually having, and it just didn't get me anywhere. And over time, I realized that it just wasn't working, and that it was so important that I went to him in my time of need. And I've been in that spot, a lot of times. I've been in a lot of situations where I really needed Christ to come into my life and to, rescue me from these situations and these trials. And he's done that. And it took a lot for him to make me realize what exactly he was doing in my life and how he was working in my life. But once I did, I realized that it's so important. And I wish I had known that going in, because I feel like I wouldn't have put myself in some of those predicaments had I known that, but I know it now. So it's better late than never to learn how important Christ is in our lives and what type of role he actually plays. He's truly sovereign, and his role in our lives is huge. Wow. It's way bigger than I think anybody could ever imagine. And ever since I've made that adjustment in my life, that I go to him first, and I go to him for absolutely everything, he's been able to help me reframe a lot of these struggles and issues that I've had that I wouldn't have been able to reframe otherwise if it wasn't for him. So that would definitely be the biggest thing that has stuck with me, is that Christ needs to be number one, and if he's not, then you're not gonna get through this experience as fruitful as you would should you actually depend on him.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that a lot. Maybe similar to that would be the question is, maybe tell me about what some of your favorite experiences so far as an Emmaus student. That's inside the classroom, outside the classroom. What are some of the things you've really enjoyed here so far?
There's so many. It's I'm going to try to tie everything together into one answer. Yeah. I would say just the fellowship aspect that I've been able to experience here at Emmaus. It's been life-changing. I've met individuals that I would consider to be friends lifelong, that, upon graduation and, whatever the Lord has for us in store upon graduation, that we will still be connected, we'll be still tied together going forward. And it's truly amazing. And that bond that I've been able to build with some of those people is just so special to me, because those moments and those experiences, you'll never lose those. You never forget them. And they alter the way that you think, and they alter the way that you go about campus community as a whole. It gave me an entirely new perspective. And truthfully, coming into this experience, I felt as though I was going to kind of be a little bit of an outsider. Like I wasn't really going to fit in, and I was, stepping out of my comfort zone. I was going to have to, break out of that shell that I've had over me for my entire life. And I wasn't prepared for that. And so when I first got here, I was nervous. I was shy. I wasn't really outgoing. I was to myself a lot. But as I started getting comfortable and getting adjusted, I was like, man, these people actually care. These people are actually really genuine, and we share the same beliefs, and we all share the fact that we believe in Christ and that he is our Lord and Savior. And that's a great starting point for any friendship, in my opinion, truthfully. And so just getting started there and then going forward after that, it was just all downhill. You start to get to know these people. You start to see the connections that you have with them, the connections that you truthfully would never expect to have with certain people. But once you actually like talk to them and get to know them better, you realize, oh, wow, like we have a lot more in common than I actually thought.
Yeah.
So that's just been really crazy to me. And it's changed my life entirely. And it's made the experience what it's been so far. That's truthfully been my favorite part about being here, is just getting to know all these different people and being able to actually step out of my comfort zone, like I said, and break off of that shell and actually like be comfortable being uncomfortable, if you will.
Yeah, that makes sense. I want to ask you about, you're talking about bonds and friendships here. And I know that over the summer, you really made some strong bonds working at the Dream Center. Is that right?
Yes.
And could you tell us, well, first of all, in 30 seconds, tell us about what the Dream Center is doing. And then tell us some about what you were doing over the summer there. Because you, if I'm correct, you stayed here over the summer. You didn't go back home. You went back home maybe for a couple of weeks or something,
yes.
right? But then you stayed here the rest of the summer.
Yes.
And worked in downtown Dubuque with Coach Gra and with Coach Kimball and those guys, right? And got involved with the Dream Center. So, tell us some about what the Dream Center does, just real quick, and then what you were doing over the summer and some about that experience.
Sure. So the Dream Center's mission is to reach the greater part of the community, especially the downtown portion, where there is a lot more, a lack of structure.
Okay.
Within households and within the actual school system. So the Dream Center is an after-school program during the school year and a full-day program during the summertime that allows the kids to come in and to receive guidance and coaching from, various different activities such as basketball, music and arts, dancing, and, some other ones. But our main mission is to preach the gospel through that. If I'm not mistaken, in the actual public school system, they aren't allowed to preach the gospel, which is very unfortunate. But here at the Dream Center, we have the opportunity to do that. Yeah. So that's the big purpose, is that we want to be able to reach these kids. We want to be able to preach the gospel in a setting that we're actually allowed to do so.
And so that's what you were doing. You were coaching basketball?
Yes.
That's awesome. And you built some good relationships there, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure. That's amazing. I'm thankful. Are you going to keep doing that next summer?
Absolutely.
And you're working there during the school year, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. Well, finally, if you don't have a good answer for this question yet, that's okay. But what's next after Emmaus? I know you still got another 2.5 years before it's time to have a decision there. But any thoughts, any desires where you're going to go, what you want to do?
Yeah, so obviously we have no idea what the Lord has in store, 3 years from now. But as of right now, my plan is to go back home to Richland Park and to become a manager of some sort of business. I've looked at a couple. I've looked at Amazon. I've looked at Ford car manufacturing. And I've received some other offers for some other businesses as well. But my plan right now is to work for one of those corporations and to be a manager and/or a supervisor who oversees a big operation of whichever corporation that is, and to be able to use my faith and to be able to use the gospel as a way to encourage and to lead others. That's something that's lacking in a lot of corporations and workplaces in the world today, is that Christian leadership. Yeah. And I feel like the world needs more of that. And I feel like that is an area that I step in and I could fit in really well. So that's my plan upon graduation, is to obtain my bachelor's degree in business administration and to go home and to serve in the workplace.
That sounds like a great plan. We'll be praying that you keep trusting the Lord along the way. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Tyrus. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a privilege to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Concerning Him, an Emmaus podcast. Ministries like Concerning Him are possible because of the generous contributions from our partners around the world. For more information about partnering with us, please visit emmaus.edu/partner.